Hello, Cancer, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self to ultimately create the life that you desire and deserve? As I do in all of my readings, I've pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second, but I still have the tarot deck we'll be using, the clarification deck, and the advice deck that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So please do remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. All right, Cancer, let's jump in. In your recent past, you have releasing with the 5 of Wands. You've been on the fence about something. Should I stay? Should I go? Should I give it one more chance? Should I keep trying? Should I keep fighting? Should I keep investing? Or should I give up, or should I walk away? And I feel like it doesn't, whether it's about a relationship, a job, I'm not sure, but I do definitely feel like it's something you've been, like there's a back and forth energy on it. And it's been really hard for you to figure out what the best decision for you is. Now, I feel like I'm speaking to two different collectives. I feel like I'm speaking to a collective who either the decision has been made for them, like they had to walk away from something, or something walked away from them, or something didn't work out. And or I'm speaking to a collective that's still in the middle of making that decision. I'm not sure, obviously, again, take it as it resonates. But right now, and it feels like this, based on what you've been going through, the rest of this reading is about getting in touch with your intuition and believing that you are supported by the universe. Because in your current energy, you have intuition with the Queen of Cups. Now, this Queen of Cups, whether you're male or female, is about getting in touch with your intuitive side. The part of you that is rooted more in, emotion, or rooted more in intuition than emotion, because our emotions can trick us and can make us think that one thing is true when in fact something else might actually be. Your emotions and what you're feeling is more of how your brain is processing the current moment and not actually the reality of the situation. And when we go off of emotion, sometimes we will not make the decisions that are best for us. So right now is about getting in touch with your intuitive side and learning to separate that from your ego guidance, because your ego guidance is loud and it's full of fear and it is demanding, and it says you must do this, and if you don't do this, then this won't happen and you'll never be happy and blah, blah. Your intuition doesn't speak to you that way. And learning to get in touch with your intuition is learning to get in touch with the part of you that really loves you and knows that you are deserving and capable of all the good things in your life, because that's the voice that will always guide you in the right direction. The overall theme of this reading is meditation. So I don't know if this is talking about needing to implement a meditation practice but needing to implement a meditation practice in your day-to-day experience, needing to meditate on this reading or on something in particular. Again, that's going to kind of determine what your situation is. But in your immediate future, you have higher power with the Page of Swords. And I thought this was kind of crazy, because with this higher power card came this, it says trust now. Wait, that's not the right deck. It says communicate. And then you have the Page of Swords. I was like, I must have shuffled it. But this is about communicating with a higher power, learning to communicate with the universe and building that relationship so that you can fully trust the steps that you take, that you are very much supported by something bigger than you, by the universe, by a higher power, whether it is spirit, God, your higher self, ancestors, whatever it is that resonates with you. It's building that loving relationship with something that has your back. And I feel like right now you don't, because I feel like if you knew that you were fully supported and that the universe was here to support you on the path to your dreams, whatever that looks like, and that you didn't have to settle in a career or in a relationship, and that you could take risks knowing that you were fully supported in those risks, your decisions would probably be a lot different. You wouldn't be so on the fence about what to do, because I have very much learned that we always know what the right decision is. We know what's best for us, but we fear what we'd have to lose or the uncomfortable unknown that we'd have to face when we make the decisions that's best for us. So, it's kind of reframing how you look at your life and the decisions that you make, and coming from this place of knowing that you're very supported, because the universe is saying if you can believe that you're supported by the universe, your life will be able to change drastically. But if you don't believe it and you're waiting for the universe to prove it to you, you will be waiting for forever. But if you take steps in it, believing that you are supported, the universe, will start to show up for it. But that's just the overall energy, so let's break it down. Let's start, Cancer, by looking at your recent past. What have you been on the fence about? Conflicted about? Recent past for Cancer, please. The moon. Temperance in reverse with the moon here. Okay. So, this was actually the first card out for the Pisces reading I did too. And I'm not saying I've shuffled the cards, but it's just, I feel like water signs have been dealing with quite a bit of fear recently. Fear that things are never going to work out, that they're not going to be happy, that, if you make a decision believing that you can receive better, that you'll be missing out on what could have been. I don't know. Fear can come in so many different forms. There's a lot of impatience in this past energy. And I feel like the impatience, impatience and fear go hand in hand. When we're impatient with our path, it's because we fear we're not going to get to where we're going. And when we're impatient, we're going to make decisions that are going in our mind to get us there faster. So we'll settle for a relationship because at least we have one. Or we'll accept a job that maybe isn't what's best for us because at least we know that our finances are taken care of. Now, I'm not saying that those aren't logical decisions, but I will say that sometimes making decisions from a place of fear, can present itself as making a decision from a place of logic. And that's why this reading is about what would you do? Like, if you believed that the universe had your back, like, what would you do? What would your life look like? What steps would you take? How would you approach things differently? Because a lot of what, you were experiencing in your past was this fear that you were never going to get to where you're trying to go, which is so natural and so understanding, but that doesn't have to be the truth in the end. More for Cancer's recent past. Ooh, hang on. I don't like the way that came out. Okay, there we go. Cancer's recent past. These cards feel quite chaotic in this energy. I feel like there's a lot of stress associated with this energy that were in here. Okay, 8 of Pentacles and the 7 of Swords. There's an energy of putting a lot into something. A lot of effort, a lot of work, kind of just like dedicating your time, your energy to something, but not getting what you wanted out of it. And that's where I feel this 5 of Wands kind of comes in, is you're like, man, I am putting so much into this and it is just not becoming what it is that I truly deserve. Like, is this worth it? Should I stay? Should I go? Should I continue to invest? Should I look at other routes? And I feel like it's important because here's the thing. I don't have that answer for you, what you should do. Because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to give you the answers. I'm here to help guide you to finding the right answer within you, which is why so much of this is about connecting to your intuition, because only you, Cancer, are going to know what is the best for you. Only you know your dreams. Only you know your goals. Only you know your heart. Only you know your intentions. You are the only one who is going to be able to know what the best decision for you is. Now, what I can tell you is that when we are willing to embrace the unknown from a place of faith, we will always open more doors than if we're coming from this place of, how can I play it safe? And I do feel as if there is a little bit of playing it safe here in your past energy. Now, you might not realize that you're doing that. You might not realize that there's more available for you, and I get that. And we've all been there. It's not that you've been doing anything wrong or that you've wasted your time or that you've made a mistake. It's that you're learning what is right for you, and sometimes in the process of learning what is right for you, we have to go through learning what isn't. And I feel like this is about understanding that you, like, it's about breaking yourselves out of the limitation of what you think is possible for you, and allowing yourself to believe in your dreams and believe. And it sounds so cheesy, right? Believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. But seriously, like, so many of us are taught when we're little kids, you can be anything you want to be, whatever you want to do. And it's like, oh, you want to be Superman, be whatever you want to be. But then as you get older, it's like, you can be whatever you want to be as long as it fits in this box of what's acceptable, as long as it fits in the box of what your parents want from you, what society expects of you. And we forget to dream, and we start focusing on survival. And when we focus on survival, we lack a lot of fulfillment in that. And so I feel like a lot of this could be breaking out of that so that you can, live a life that aligns more with what it is that you're really looking for out of life. All right, more for Cancer's recent past. But I'm getting ahead of myself, I think, with a lot of what I'm talking about. But I do very much feel as if there was this, it's determination. It's determination. It's effort. It's like, it's not that you were lacking the effort. That's the biggest thing you need to know. It's not that you weren't good enough or that you weren't trying hard enough. It's that this path or whatever this is might not have been the right thing for you. It might not have, when something consistently produces the same result, we have to start taking a look and saying, okay, is this truly what I desire? Like, am I investing in this because it brings me joy, or am I investing in this because I hope that one day maybe it'll bring me joy in the future? When we invest in things for the potential of what it could be instead of what it is today, we will always be waiting for a future outcome that will always seem very out of reach. So the more that we can realign our decisions with believing that we are fully supported, the less that we will focus so much on survival. And survival is, ingrained in us, right? It's our ego. Our ego is not to be demonized. Its focus is survival, but we can also rise above that level of survival and get to a point of creating a life that allows us to thrive. But I feel like you've been trying really hard, and I almost feel like the universe is saying, like, you've been trying too hard. Not that you're like, I feel like the universe doesn't want you to try harder. It wants you to trust more, is what this is saying. It's not that you need to do more, that you need to expend more energy. You need to trust more. Relax into that co-creation partnership between you and the universe a little bit more here. All right, let's get more for Cancer's current energy. What does Cancer need to know about their current energy? Yeah, because you're burnt out. You're burnt out. You've expended all of this effort. You're not where you want to be, and now you're burnt out. And I feel like a lot of that is coming because I feel like it just feels like the pieces are not coming together. And you're like, well, no matter how hard I try, it just seems to not work out. Now, I will say there's two sides of that coin. Yes, you want to not give up on yourself, right? You don't want to give up on your path. You don't want to give up. But you might need to readjust the way that you're approaching things, because you're approaching things from this place of, if I make myself miserable now and I put in all this effort, then one day I'll be happy. One day I'll be successful. One day, whatever. Life is about learning to cultivate happiness and joy for ourselves in the present moment. Right now, Cancer, and you might not even realize this, but I need you to hear me out when I say this. You're being very much run by ego and by fear. Not saying you're egotistical. I'm not saying that you are, and this is not me blaming you or shaming you or anything, but sometimes we don't realize how much our fear is playing a factor in our decisions. And our fear is coming from this place of, if I am not in full control of every single thing that I'm doing, then I'm not going to be safe or happy or survive in the end, right? That's ego. Whenever you're coming from this place of, you have to work 50 million hours a week or else you're going to fail, or you have to constantly be showing up for this person that isn't showing up for you, or you're never going to be loved. That's not your intuition. Your intuition is there to say, how can you show up for yourself in the best way that you can today? And however you are able to do that is going to lead you to better things in the end. But it's hard to listen to your intuition when you're so hardwired for survival, and your energy is so drained right now because it's not going, first of all, you're not giving very much to yourself. You're giving it out to everything around you, to the people around you, to the situations around you. And part of you believes that eventually, if you give out enough energy, then maybe you're going to get it back. But that's not how it works. You're creating a foundation for your life that says, I give, and I get very little. And that's not the foundation that you're truly deserving of. This kind of reminds me of, and this is just like, I'm trying to think of a good way to put this into an example. When I was a financial advisor in my past life, I was working 12 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, spinning my wheels, like burning myself out. And I was making good money doing it, but in my mind, it was like, I'm making this good money because I'm burning myself out. Went through a spiritual awakening. A lot of things happened between then and now, but went through a spiritual awakening, uncovered a lot of things, grew, healed, evolved, whatever. Started doing tarot. Now, I work on my business about, I would say at most, like 20 to 25 hours a week, which is about what I would do in 2 days when I was a financial advisor. And I make more money now than I did then on my business. Now, this isn't a brag. This isn't saying I've got it all figured out. But what I went through this period where I felt like I wasn't as deserving of the success that I was experiencing because I wasn't burnt out, because I wasn't miserable all the time. And it's because I was hardwired to believe that success or joy or happiness had to come at a cost. And that isn't true. And when we believe that, it becomes true for us. So we burn ourselves out because we think, oh, this is going to earn me the success that I deserve. Now, you do have to earn success. You have to be willing to take risks. You have to commit to a path. You have to show up for it. But that doesn't mean it's at the expense of your mental, emotional, or physical well-being. And whatever you've been investing in has been at the expense of those things. And when we're not prioritizing those things, we are eventually going to run out of energy. I always ask the question, when I'm talking with a client, if you lived the same day that you live today, now, if you did the same thing today, like if your day-to-day schedule was the same as it was today for the next 10 years, is that something you're okay with? Are you living for the idea that eventually one day your life is going to be easier and you are going to be happier? When we live for the future, we are completely missing our life because we are not living it for today. So that's why you're needing to get in touch with yourself so that you can show up for your life based on what you need today, not what future you needs if you work hard enough or if you drain yourself enough or if you're miserable enough for long enough, because that is going to lead you to just being you're eventually going to wake up one day and you're going to say, I have nothing left to give because you've given it all away. Life is a balance about learning to give and receive, but you have to understand that you are deserving of receiving without overgiving. And that comes from realizing that you are deserving for who you are, not for the value you provide others, which is a really hard thing to learn. But that's why you're needing to really get in touch with yourself here, to kind of slow it down a little bit and to learn to listen to what you need. So you can show up as for that version of yourself, for whatever that you need, and not feel guilty about that, because that can be hard too. All right, what else? That was the 5 of Wands. What does Cancer need to know right now? I hope these messages are making sense because it's kind of a difficult one to deliver. Okay, you have the Hierophant here. A new perspective is needed. The universe is asking you to look at things from a different place. One of the best / hardest things I've learned is that if I'm doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working, then I got to do something else, right? Definition of insanity. I'm not saying you're insane, but definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. For so much of my life, I did the same thing over and over again. It led to the same results, and then I'd try again and it would be the same results. sometimes we have to look back and we have to say, okay, if that way of not doing things isn't working, then how can I reapproach? And the universe is trying to give you an approach of, this isn't about trying harder or being more or being better or being more attractive or wealthier or more intelligent. This is about trusting that who you are right now in this moment, flaws, mistakes, everything you've been through, you are deserving of the life that you desire. It's not about healing to perfection. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not healed enough to be in a relationship. Why do you think you need to heal more in order to be valuable? Why do you think you need to be more than you are right now in order to have the things that you truly desire? Because you don't. You just believe that, which is why you're always overextending, because you feel like you have to compensate for this lack of value you believe you have. But you don't. The universe is saying you just need to trust in how deserving you are and how lovable you are and how wonderful you are. And I just feel like there's been this belief cancer for so long that you've held on to, that it's like, oh, well, I lack in these ways, therefore I need to make up for it in these ways. But that's not how it works. You are valuable not in spite of, but because of your flaws, because those flaws make you who you are. Now, that doesn't mean don't work on yourself, right? Of course, be self-aware, focus on how you can grow, sure. But you're never going to be perfect. Healing is a lifelong journey. You're never going to be perfect. So stop waiting until you become perfect or you've, expended enough energy in order to be happy. You deserve to be happy today and to cultivate a life that allows that to be the case. So new perspective is needed here. Current energy for Cancer. What does Cancer need to know right now? This is kind of a more conceptual read, I feel like. There is a message to make sure you are paying attention to the people around you. Do the people around you lift you up? Do they support your dreams? Do they support your goals? Do they make you feel loved and like good enough? Or do they take away from you? Do they pull you down? Do they make you feel small? Do you have to make yourself feel small in order to fit into the spaces with them? So much of our life is who and what we surround ourselves with. And the older I've gotten and the more that I've been on this journey and I've kind of cultivated this level of peace in my life and self-acceptance, the pickier I am with who I surround myself with. And the biggest reason for that isn't because I'm like, oh, you have to prove you're deserving of my energy. Okay, it's not coming from that place. It's just saying, I am going to protect my peace because I know how hard I've worked to get here. And so very much of my growth, so much of my growth has come from recognizing that the things that are meant for me will never pass me. And I don't need to force myself to fit into spaces where I don't belong or where isn't meant for me. I don't need to try hard to get people to love me or accept me. If people don't love or accept me for who I am, those people are not meant for me. But we have to learn that, when things aren't working out, sometimes it's not that oftentimes it's not that we're not enough. It's that we're trying to invest too much of our energy in things that don't value us or don't see our value. And sometimes we need to, be a little bit pickier of where we are investing our energy. Now, again, sometimes we invest in people or situations because we think nothing better is going to come along. So we try as hard as we can to make that work because we think this is the only shot I got. If this doesn't work, if this friendship doesn't pan out, if this relationship doesn't pan out, I'm going to be alone. I'm not going to have any friends, whatever the case might be. But that's not the way that it works. And that's why I started this reading out with saying, if you knew that the universe was supporting you 100%, how would your decisions change? How would your approach change? You probably would settle for a hell of a lot less. You probably wouldn't settle. I guess I'm just saying you wouldn't settle, not like you'd settle for less. That was kind of confusing. Okay, what does Cancer need to know moving forward? This is learning to communicate with a higher power. Asking the universe for guidance and being open to that guidance. For me, a lot of the times, I just ask to know that I'm supported, and I always get signs that I'm supported every single time. Something that happened recently was I'm dealing with a divine timing issue, feeling as if I should be further ahead in something than I am. And I was asking for, the universe, because a lot of, when that happens, I have a tendency to slip into, oh, maybe I'm never going to get there, right? It's not going to happen for me. It's natural. It happens to all of us. And that self-doubt kicks in. So I'll ask the universe, okay, please just, show me a little bit that I'm supported. And something that was happening was, it's like I would see numbers at the same time. So if the clock said, like right now it says 12:55, I would see like on my video camera like 12:55. Or if I was in a car, like I'd see a license plate that said a number and then I'd see that time. Or I'd look at a number on my phone and then I'd see it on like the oven, or some like the oven timer, or like weird things like that were happening. And it was the universe's way of saying divine timing. Like things always line up in divine timing. And that communication with the universe brought me so much peace, because it's like, yeah, I'm not where I want to be, but I know I'm supported and I know the universe has my back. When we learn to communicate with the universe in that way, we find this level of faith that allows us to let go of control a little bit and sink into the idea that we are supported. Now, sometimes I can communicate well. Sometimes I'm not as in tune with my intuition because I'm going through an emotional period, and that's when I know I need to get grounded and get back in touch with my intuition. But when I talk about communicating with a higher power, that's really what I mean, allowing the universe to be there to support you and guide you and show you how supported and guided you really are. All right. Immediate future for Cancer, higher power with the Page of Swords. And that's just one example that I've just most recently been dealing with. But the universe communicates with me in so many different ways, through books, sometimes through you guys and comments. All right, immediate future for Cancer. Oh my gosh, okay, the universe has a lot to say to you. That's for sure. Okay, so clear, concise messages. What does Cancer need to know moving forward? Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. There are opportunities for you that you don't even know exist yet, but they cannot present themselves until you believe they can happen. So, this goes back to what I was saying. If you believed you were fully supported, what decisions would you make? If you believe that it's possible and that you can live the life of your dreams and have the relationships that you desire, you will see opportunities. If you don't believe it's possible, you will only see obstacles. You only see reasons why you shouldn't make those decisions, why that can't happen, why you shouldn't get there, why you should stay where you're at. So many doors open when we allow them to, but we can't allow them to open, they can't open until we believe that they're even there. So that comes from, one of my favorite quotes is Joseph Campbell said, take one step toward the gods and they will take 10 steps towards you. So many people wait for the universe to show up for them and to provide them with this windfall of abundance and everything's going to work out all of a sudden. Yes, the universe is there to support you, but it's also waiting for you to give it the opportunity to support you. We experience the support of the universe to the direct capacity that we believe in it and act on it. And that doesn't mean you take a step in faith of the universe and then all of a sudden things just work out immediately, okay? That's where you take leaps of faith, you take steps in faith, and the universe shows up for that over time. And yes, you'll face disappointment, and you'll face failure, and you'll face things not going your way, but all of that is part of the path to get you there. But when we learn to communicate with the universe in times where things aren't working out like we expected, or in the time that we expected, or we do face an obstacle of some sort, we can lean on that support of the universe and learn to communicate with the universe through that experience. So the way that we do that is getting in touch with our intuition, because if we are not listening to our intuition, and I will say so many people mistake their intuitive guidance with their ego guidance, because your ego guidance will present itself as the most believable and the one that you're going to want to listen to the most, because it is coming from a place of trying to help you avoid a fear. So your ego is always going to want to help you avoid the unknown, or doing things differently, or taking a different approach. So it will say, no, you need to stay in this relationship that isn't serving you, or you need to stay in this career that isn't serving you, or no, you need to wait to make sure that maybe this person, this person's going to come back. They're going to come back for you. Your intuition is saying you deserve more. You are capable of more. Take steps towards more. Believe that you are supported in creating more for yourself. And that voice is the one we have to learn to listen to, but it is buried so deeply under our ego voice, because your ego voice is loud, your intuitive voice is not. It's a nudge, it's a knowing, it's a feeling. It's not an emotion kind of feeling, but it's a feeling that is constantly pulling you in the direction of where you are supposed to go. But your ego will always want to keep you where you're at or where you're used to being. We actually prefer a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And when your ego is trying to keep you in a familiar hell, it'll be like, oh no, that's my intuition. But it's actually your ego trying to keep you there. Your intuition is trying to get you into an unfamiliar heaven, which I feel like is very much what this is saying. All right, what does Cancer need to know moving forward? Okay. Here's what you have to realize. So you have the Magician, Five of Pentacles in reverse, Temperance in reverse, and Four of Cups. You are the magician. You are the creator of your life. If you are not living the life of your dreams, it is because a part of you does not believe it's possible and therefore is not taking steps toward it. Now, that is not saying this is all your fault and you are dumb, okay? What I'm saying is we have to recognize that we have more control than we think we do. We are way more capable of creating the life that we desire than we even think we are. It's just that we don't think we're supported. We don't think that the universe would show up for us. We think, well, why could I build a business? I'm not smart enough. Or why could I do that? I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not as good as her or as good as them, or I don't have that love that he has, or whatever the case is. And we look at all of the reasons why we can't. And we focus all of our energy on why we can't do it, why it's not possible, and why the universe isn't supporting us. And we have all of this proof in our past. Well, the universe wasn't supporting me then, or when that happened, or when that went down. When in reality, the universe probably was supporting you, just not in the way that you think. Maybe those things weren't supposed to work out. Maybe those things had to happen the way that they did so you learned from those failures. If there's anything I've learned, there are failures and obstacles on the path to the life of your dreams. They're inevitable. They're going to happen. And it's not to hold you back. It's to teach you something so that you can approach it from a different place and get there even more. So much of the time we look at what hasn't worked out as this proof that we can't get to where we're going, when in reality it's a lesson to get us closer to whatever that is. So, we spend so much of our time waiting. We wait for that person to finally love us in the way that we deserve. We wait for our boss to finally give us that raise. We wait for, this, and we wait for that. And we spend so much of our time just waiting for everybody else to determine that we are deserving of good things. For everybody else to decide when we get to be happy, when we get to be abundant. When in reality, that is just a reflection of the universe waiting on us to show up with the belief that we are deserving and capable of more. So the more that you recognize your power and the fact that you have everything that you need to create the life of your dreams. You're not perfect. And yeah, you are still flawed, and you're going to continue to be on the path to this. You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. And that is like the whole freaking thing. That's the whole point, is showing up in the best way that you know how and continuing to do that as you continue to learn. But this is very much an energy of the universe saying, listen, we are here for you and we're here to support you, but you've got to believe that. You've got to believe that we're here to support you, and you've got to stop expending so much of your energy trying to control, because it's like you're wasting your energy on that, and you're eventually not going to have any to show up with. What else does Cancer need to know moving forward? The Empress. This is about learning to, how do I say this? In any circumstance, in any situation, when you're presented with any choice, to choose yourself. And when I say that, that often might mean facing fear. It might mean facing short-term uncomfortable circumstances. It might mean putting a lot of faith in the universe. But that is always going to lead you to the better outcome. I mean, seeing the Ace of Pentacles, the Magician, and the Empress in front of you is the universe saying there is so much good that is available to you. But you are spending so much of your time, investing your time and energy in trying to maintain your control, which is burning you out. And that's okay. That's natural and it happens. And we all slip back into that pattern. We've all been in that pattern. We all slip into that pattern. But the universe is saying, you've got to trust. You have got to trust that we are here to support you. We are here to guide you, and that everything is working out as it needs to. But we can't show up for you if you don't show up for you. That's what the universe is saying. So, all right. Cancer, we're going to hop on over to the extended where I am going to pull the messages focusing on what can you do right now to ensure you are moving forward in alignment with your higher self. So this is what do you need to know. Now we're focusing on what you can do. And then I'm going to pull messages for all that and then an advice card to close out the reading at the very end. Thank you so much, Cancer, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, Cancer, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Cancer.